give you a chance once in your life to discover your strengths. Make it a bucket list and say that, okay, I would like to understand my strengths, not just understand, I would like to understand and learn how to apply myself in the way, I want to do. So discover what works for you. What doesn't work for
Yeah.
you, the world will tell you. Coaches only come and ask questions, and I understand that, okay, that's what a lot of coaches are told in various coaching certifications, that you have to ask questions. See, asking
Yeah.
question is one thing, but at the same time you need to have a philosophy which.
Hi, Abhishek. Thank you so much for joining. It's been a long time connecting with you.
Thanks, Pankaj. Thanks a lot. Actually, pleasure having pleasure, being with you in this podcast. And I really remember our days when we met long time ago, and I'm happy that we continue be in touch. And that's what I say, that, okay, in life, what you earn is relationship, and bonding with each other, and that's something which continued. Though we traveled different paths, we went to different direction, but this bond is still intact. That's the most beautiful thing about it.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for joining on the Let's Talk show. I still remember my vivid memories goes जो चीजें याद आती हैं पुरानी मैक्स टू योर लाइफ वाली वो
Yeah.
ट्रेनिंग हॉल हुआ करता था आप आकर के ट्रेनिंग दिया करते थे हम लोग सीखा करते थे सोचा नहीं था कि कभी इस तरीके से हम लोग इंटरेक्ट करेंगे और एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे आकर के हम लोग विल बी अ पार्ट ऑफ सच अ पॉडकास्ट टुगेदर
No, thanks a lot. Thank you. In fact, I really like the way you are building Let's Talk show. You're trying to get stories. You're trying to follow your passion. What you're doing, you're trying to break format of doing things in a usual way, and that's something which is really really nice. And yeah, of course, it's pleasure to be with you, connect with you. Always, enjoyed having conversations with you. So I'm looking forward to have this conversation with you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So, my first question, let's begin the conversation here. My first question, please share about your personal journey and a few things, if you can just share, what really motivates you, what really inspires you to work. And it's been a long journey. I can see, from being an employee to, as a freelance consultant and a coach, especially the strength-based coach.
Yeah. Absolutely. So it's been an extremely interesting journey from a corporate professional to starting own company, becoming an entrepreneur. It is like, really, really tough, challenging, but very, very fulfilling. So I always wanted to start something of my own. And that's when, I thought of starting my company Strength Masters in 2016. We started, but I was always passionate and interested about doing something very very specific rather than going everywhere. And
Yeah.
in my last role, I was head of talent management, learning and development. And during that time, what happened, a lot of people used to come and share with me when it comes to leadership
Mhm.
development. People used to tell me that, okay, you have leaders in your organization, how can you develop them? And everyone used to talk about, okay, what is something wrong with them and how can we fix what is wrong with them? But when I
Mhm.
used to interact with my leaders within my organization, they all were my colleagues. I used to look at that, okay, they have traveled in their journey of 15, 16, 17, 20 years, and they have done a lot of things which are right in their life. So,
Yeah.
can there be a methodology through which we can explore what is right with them and help them maximize what is at? Because there are certain things which they are really good at and they really do well. And then I got a chance to explore about strength science as a subject. I did detailed research. I found it very, very fascinating. I did my certification from Gallup USA, invested my own money. And then I implemented one leadership development program within my organization. And I found that how people liked it, how it helped them create business impact, how they were able to maximize a lot of things about themselves. And that motivated me to start my own company, Strength Masters, which is a
Yeah.
community of high performing and seasoned Gallup certified strength coaches. So there is an entry barrier that people have to be minimum Gallup certified to work with us. And it's an organization that we have worked with, 100 plus organizations so far, delivered 200 plus projects. And every day, I really enjoy what I'm doing. It's something, which is very very fulfilling, helping people discover what is right with them. And many times, we work with senior leaders, board level people. They also get surprised when they discover their strengths and they look at it, okay, there is a way which is scientific, reliable, credible, valid, through which we can discover about what is right with us. Yeah.
Interesting. So, pertaining to the coaching, where there are different school of thoughts in coaching itself. Like Gestalt is one, strength-based coaching is one. What format normally this especially the strength-based coaching really follows? If you can just share something on
Yeah,
this.
so coaching, thanks, Pankaj. So coaching fundamentally remains the same.
Yeah.
So if you look at someone who wants to coach, first, I always say that, okay, do one to many, then come to one to one. Because I've worked with a lot of coaches, like for many years, and I've seen that
Mhm.
people who have done a lot of one to many sessions have mastered the art of facilitation. When they come in coaching, they really do well. So there is no difference in the basic principles of coaching. But what happens, many times coaches go to the clients without any scientific framework, with their own experience. That can be quite limiting. There is no scientific evidence of what they are talking about. It is their experience. Of course, they have a lot of experience. But strength-based coaching, strength-based development is based on science. There is a philosophy which is reliable, valid, and credible. So the coach's experience is there, but coach's experience is not the only thing. So coach is also is not the center. The center is science. Coach is talking about based on something scientific, reliable, valid, and there are data points which backs this science. So what happens, when we talk to coaches, especially at senior leadership role, they don't want to listen to someone's experience only. They want to
Yeah.
understand something. They want to challenge something. If there is scientific, they will find really, really meaningful. And that's what
Mhm.
happens with us. So when we work with senior leaders, when we coach them, we are not coaching based on our experience. We are using a science. The science has reliability, credibility. They are able to relate to a lot of things, and we are very specifically talking about one philosophy and building around it, and this helps in action planning. Many times it happens, we hear it from clients that coaches only come and ask questions, and I
Yeah.
understand that, okay, that's what a lot of coaches are told in various coaching certifications, that you have to ask questions. See, asking
Yeah.
question is one thing, but at the same time, you need to have a philosophy which can back something scientific, reliable, and that's how it works. So this makes strength science very, very different. That's why it is a niche. Very few people take this courage to invest their money and become strength science practitioners, because you have to dedicate yourself, and it's very, very specific, and you see the impact in business results, in outcomes, which clients define when you work with them, because you are talking about something very, very specific rather than just generic and talking about your experience.
Yeah, wonderful. So Abhishek, while in the entire process of coaching, I understand that, you travel a lot along with the coachee or the person whom you are mentoring
Right.
into the highs and the lows of their life and try to discover something which they themselves are not aware about themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. If you can just share a couple of examples. One is the one of the best example. I don't want you to share the names of the people,
Yeah,
but the experience which you have gone through. And another one is something, what changes in you being a coach, while you travel through their journey, travel through their pain areas and the difficulties.
sure. So first of all, when we work with our clients, we don't try to get into everything they're going through in their life, because that's not our job. Our job is very, very specific. Our job is not to prescribe them. Our job is make the entire process non-threatening, and that's how we take them through the entire journey. So what happens, we start with discovering their strengths, and often people have idea about the kind of knowledge they have, the skill set that they have. They build on the competencies that they have, but they don't know what their natural strengths are, and therefore they are uncertain about a lot of things which they think are right, but they are not using it, they are not doing it, they're not backing themselves. So first thing, what happens, when we work with people, we are able to
Mm-hmm.
help them navigate about, how they naturally think, feel, and behave, and we are able to coin words around it. So that's something what happens. Second, what happens, they when they come in touch, get in touch with us, we help them identify very, very specific situations and tell them, okay, where are they applying themselves correctly, and situations in which they are not applying themselves correctly. It can be really, really transformative. And the biggest change at leadership level is nothing but helping them accept certain things. Not trying to make an action plan for everything that they're going through. They can figure out
Yeah.
action plan, but having a discussion and helping them create a lot of moments of self-realization. So that's the fundamental. Now, just to give you an example, so there is a strength in strength science called consistency. So I was working with a senior leader. He would have got feedback from many. of people in his environment as senior leaders that okay, you enjoy working in a comfort zone. You don't break the comfort zone. If we give you
Mm.
processes, SOPs, you really do well, and
Yeah.
therefore otherwise you don't enjoy much. So you must do something, some initiative, something to do to contribute more in the organization. Now when we started working with this individual, this is the feedback that we had, and this is what the coachee also shared with us. Now during the discussion we discovered that one of the strengths of this individual is called consistency. Now, consistency in strength science means people who have consistency as a strength, they are the ones they
Yeah.
enjoy in the consistent environment. And that's how this person was also perceived about himself throughout his life. But when
Yeah.
we explored one more dimension of consistency, we said, people who have consistency as a strength, they are the ones who also have power to bring consistency in any inconsistent environment. So if anyone who has to venture out, who should venture out for any inconsistent project, it is this individual.
Mm.
And we give this assurance. He said, I do it quite a lot in my personal life, but maybe I'm
Yeah.
I'm a bit skeptical in doing it in my professional life, because in personal life I venture out on towards things which no one has ever thought about, and I am able to create some process. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we shared with them that okay, consistency gives him his power to bring consistency in any inconsistent environment. And we suggested him to, opt for new projects where organization is trying to do something and no one is aware about what needs to be done. Because if you
Yeah.
step up, if you raise your hand that I want to do it, you will be the one who will be able to bring consistency. The first thing that you will do, say that okay, this there is a chaos, so let me create process one, step two, and then move ahead. So it will give direction to everyone. So this is like, if you look at this as an example, this is quite transformative, but very very
Mm.
specific insight. So that's what we do, and this was an example one.
Yeah, yeah, I like the structure what you shared here, the overall the how you organize with with the customer and how it goes. Can you share an example of a company or an individual who has significantly benefited and transformed from discovering and applying the strength?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are many organizations, many case studies, because we've been working with so many years, 100 plus organization. So let me give
Yeah.
you a recent example, of an organization where we have been implementing strength-based leadership for many years. Now, if you look at when we started implementing strength-based leadership in this organization, there were three critical issues. People were going in a specific direction, but they were also clear about how to go about in that direction. But what was
Mhm.
happening that in between there was issues related to collaboration, alignment with each other, and openness in real sense. So the business leader had an idea about strength psychology. And so business leader reached out to us, said, okay, can we look at it? Can we do something about it? So we said, okay, let us hear the problem statement. We
Yeah.
made a note of problem statement. The clear problem statement was business wise, the team was very well capable. Competency, skill wise, there were not much issues. But the issues
Yeah.
at leadership level were that, okay, how can these talented people come together and work with each other? And can there be a scientific process? Can we get some data around it? So that's when this entire journey started. So when we started working with them, we curated a journey of 6 months. We said, okay, in these 6 months, what we will do, we will start with discovering each and every individual's strengths. We will
Mm.
make sure that not only they understand how to apply their strengths correctly in this role to achieve the common objective, but they also accept other people the way they are and leverage each other's strengths exactly. So, for example, let's say there was a team member in this team who would always find fault in what could go wrong and would caution everyone before everyone would think about this could go wrong, right? So
Yeah.
this was his natural instinct. Any meeting he would go, he would actually pick up certain things and find out what could go wrong. So
Mm.
therefore, people initially like him quite a lot, but later on, people started labeling this individual as passive. So when we worked with this group and we shared that, okay, this individual has a strength called deliberative. People who have deliberative means they could figure out what could go wrong much before others could figure out what could go wrong. And they are very
Yeah.
meticulous in planning. So this perspective is when it was given to the entire team from the lenses of strength. Now what
Mm.
happens, everyone makes sure that before they even go to their boss, they take the presentation, their presentation through this person, because this person will evaluate and find out what could go wrong. This is one example, which I'm showing. So let's say there was a person in this team. This person has a strength called strategic. Strategic means plan A and plan B. Sam create can create person can create plan A and plan B simultaneously and guide people really really well. So people
Yeah.
understood about this individual and started leveraging this individual. People had data points to look at each other. So for example, let's say I'm looking at you, Pankaj. One is that I know you personally. Second is that now I have data points about you. I know how you think, feel, and behave. So what happens, many times intent is not visible. So your intent also becomes visible, and that drives direct, direct conversations, openness. So as an outcome, what happened, they were very well engaged with each other, so their engagement
Mm.
level went up, which also showed in the engagement index that they used to maintain. Their ability to create business impact moved up. They also had got good business outcomes, so that year was really really good. They were able to achieve their business outcomes, and I'm not saying that because of us they were able to achieve, because of the business leader was visionary, that he identified that, okay, if I have to achieve this business target, my team has to function really really well together, and therefore I
Yeah.
need something scientific, data based, evidence based, not gyan, not something where person will come and based on. So we were able to give them a lot of data points about their strengths, how individuals apply their strengths, okay, what kind of support
Yeah.
system individuals will require, and this led to business impact. And as an outcome, what happens, we continued working with them, and they are one organization which is becoming an organization where we are going very aggressively with strength-based leadership intervention. All the leaders, high potential employees in their organization,
Mm.
the organization is
Yeah.
now committed to create a strength-based organization, and where everyone thrives, but with data points. People are aware about not just individuals' names, what they do, where they come from, but also data points about how will they apply themselves in the most productive manner, and how can we use them and leverage their productivity and discover their potential really well. So that's an example.
Very, very, very interesting. I like the example what you shared, that the person was there who always used to find, the danger area or maybe the problem area or something and notifying people. And you found that strength that is called the deliberative. Now this is, uh, I see, a lot of value here in and around this. So before, we take anything, for the first time, which we never did and experienced in the past, whenever we also try to do, there is a voice comes, at the back of the mind, that what are the dangers, what may be the pros and the cons for this. And in the team, if you actually see there are people around, those are thinking the same thing. So
Yeah.
team is actually, how I see, and this is come out from what the example you shared. The team is basically the composite of a mind. Team itself is a mind. Actually, there are various people are there.
Right.
Appreciate, the way you share about that finding and strength and then working on that particular strength rather than focusing on the weakness and making that person feel so bad.
Yeah.
Right. Few things about I notice about the strength-based coaching and strength finder. People have a lot of misconceptions. So, what
Yeah.
are the common misconceptions people have about this and the strength science, especially people those who do not come from this and they are from the all the class of coaching. So, because this is very much important from the perspective of the different coaches are there. If they hear it out, how will there the complete clarity for the strength-based coaching, yeah, and the strength science? Yeah.
Thank you. I think it's a really good question, and I'm glad that you're asking this because that's something which I wanted to clarify. But I'm happy that the question is coming from you. Thank you. And that shows about the research that you do before doing this show. So if you look at what are the common misconceptions about strength science? First is that people who are even aware about strength science, they feel that, okay, they have done their assessment, found their
Mm.
strengths, and it is over. No, they say that your strength assessment and report is just a beginning, it is not an end. So the journey starts from there, and therefore, when we started this organization, we realized that people have not explored full potential of strength science itself. So there are multiple practices within strength science. So one is strength-based leadership, second is strength-based selling, strength-based parenting. So these are all deep practices, deep philosophical research practices which can help people achieve very very specific outcomes in specific roles. So second, people look at it as an assessment. It is not an assessment, it is a developmental methodology. So often, people look at it just an assessment. No, it is not. So journey starts after doing this, and we in fact do not even position it like an assessment. When we go to the organization, we say, okay, we will not give this as a pre-work assessment. We will not do that, because then we don't want people to be guarded and all. That's first
Yeah.
misconception. People don't understand. People have no idea about that there is a leadership journey which strength-based leadership provides of 3 to 4 months to an organization, and an organization can get really benefit from this. This is one misconception which people have. Second
Yeah.
misconception is that because we are strength science practitioners, we only look at strengths, we ignore weaknesses. It is not true. So we don't
Okay.
ignore weaknesses, because if we do that, it will be crime. It will be criminal. How can we ignore weaknesses? But what we look at, the way we look at strengths is we look at, but the way we look at weaknesses, we look at two dimensions of strengths.
Mhm.
Dimension of each strength has two dimensions. One dimension where strength is becoming a complementary thing for you. So, for example, let's say if you look at, you have a strength called analytical, and you are able to use analytical to your advantage. That means you don't get stuck. You take decisions quickly, and you analyze, and you believe in your analysis. Second dimension is where your strength becomes impediment for you. So let's say you have a
Yeah.
strength called analytical, but first you don't know, and second, you are not using it for your advantage. You want to decide something, and you keep on analyzing, keep on analyzing, and it's never ending, without realization that analytical is your strength. Endless analysis can be very, very detrimental for you. But if you know
Yeah.
that you have a strength of analytical, you will back your first instinct, because you know that okay, you are naturally very analytical, so you observe things. So the first thought is also not just a raw thought. It is a thought with lot of observation that has come. So you must decide based on what. So there is a client that I was dealing with, and this person said that, Abhishek, if you ask me where to go on a holiday, I will tell you season, flight, restaurant, hotel, everything. But you tell me decide, I may not be able to do it. And then I told him,
Yeah.
when we discovered his strength, we realized that this person has a strength of analytical, and was not aware and not using it correctly. It was going against him. So
Yeah.
when we told this individual that okay, if someone who should back intuition, it should be you, because you don't decide things just like that. You keep observing, and therefore it is backed with a lot of analysis. So this is how.
Yeah.
So we don't ignore weaknesses, but we help people discover these two sides of their strengths, and that can be really, really game changing. If you look at, marketers do it. Marketers, when they launch a
Yeah.
product, maximize these strengths, but they manage the weakness. So what we also say that okay, once you discover your strength, your focus should be maximizing your strength, and you need to learn how to manage your weakness up to that extent only. So that's what, Pankaj, we do. So these are common misconceptions about it, and thank you for asking this. That's how it works.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Very nicely, explained and shared. Now, how do you address the skepticism, especially when working with the leaders, senior leaders, and that might doubt the effectiveness of the strength-based the approaches what you do with the people, right? So, if you can just share couple of examples based upon the people you coached.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. So, skepticism at leadership level about strengths, So, where it comes from, let's look at the root where it comes from. First
Yeah.
of all, no one who has not gone through and experienced strength-based leadership or strength-based intervention will realize that strengths are so much underrated. If you look at right from our childhood, we overrate weaknesses, weakness fixing, and we underrate strengths. And there are people who have been able to break the formats, make their career, do really, really well based on nothing but maximizing their strengths, what they have. So if you look at, that's first, skepticism which people have, that people have never thought, they have never been taught that strengths are also there. And there is a scientific way of discovering your strength, and you can achieve quite a lot. Right from childhood, people are focusing on converting their weaknesses into strengths, and it takes very time consuming. It is like, very, very difficult to achieve. So that's the misconception or skepticism at leadership level also, that when we start, they say, okay, uh, do I have strengths? But is it that I don't know my strengths? Or what's new? So that's how they start. But the moment they go through this entire experience, they get their strengths report, they start relating it to that. So they get a lot of self assurance about a lot of things which they have done in past in their lives. So for example, let's say they discover what works for them, what has always worked for them, and their ability to continue without any validation from outside world that it will work for them, it goes up. So but the start point is always like, because strengths are always underrated and weakness is overrated, weakness fixing is overrated. So therefore that's the biggest skepticism it comes. And gradually with time, when we start working with them, uh, the moment they discover their top five strengths and they start reading about it, they start understanding what we are saying and how it makes sense to focus on focus on their strength. And that's the reason of more than 90% of Fortune 500 companies, all the new age organization, all the new age professionals from various fields, be it sports, be it entrepreneurship, they are backing strength science really really well, because they know that the only way to get best out of their people is to help them identify what is right with them and maximize it. The people spend a lot of time, energy, and money in hiring people, and but they spend very few amount of money, time, and energies knowing them what they can bring on table. If they do that, they'll have transformative impact. That's how it works.
Yeah, very, very, it's kind of a wow moment kind of thing what you shared, that from our childhood to the way, we grew up, in the family also everybody is focusing on the weakness. You are not good at this, you are not good at that, you do not know this. Even though once you are hired in the organization, your manager, they hire you for your strength, but after that, they are keep on telling you that you are not good at this, you are not good in Excel, you are not good in this PowerPoint, you are not good in Chat GPT, you are not good in tech. So how much that person that is what which is something very regretting kind of thing for a person
Yeah,
to understand that do I have really a strength to sustain and to particularly grow myself,
yeah.
and where I think the strength based the leadership or the coaching really very will be very helpful. Very good. Abhishek, while let me share with you, while you are sharing, all those things, I am also going through the experience with you
Thank
with
you.
this thing. We all know about Gallup is, famous globally, about their surveys and other thing. But when
Yeah.
it comes to strength based coaching and the this kind of transformation, I feel this is still underrated. How do you see the overall the expansion strength moment in India?
So, thanks, Pankaj. Thank you for asking this. So, one is that, yeah, like you said, that people do not know about strength science. And therefore, we decided when we started this organization, Strength Masters, that we will be the ones who will, propagate this, who will take it to the people, organization. And still, when we talk to organization, a lot of, big organization are still have not been able to use it fully. But the good news
Yeah.
is that it is growing. We have sustained in last 8 years. When we started in, I mean, we saw a lot of I mean, a lot of uh, things happened. COVID happened, but we still sustained. That's it. That is because we had clients. They were able to give us business, support us, and not support us as individuals. Support the science, because they thought that, okay, in crisis situations also this is one thing which can be beneficial for them. And the good news is that it is changing. Like a lot of things in work life, corporate world is changing. So people's focus towards helping individual discover what they are and maximizing it. It is growing. People are keen to build their organization as strength-based organization. And we are getting results. We are expanding. We are also scaling up. And yeah, like it is still at a very nascent stage and a long way to go. But we are committed that we will take it forward. We will make sure that the movement of strength becomes a movement, where everyone in the organization gets an opportunity to help each other by knowing about what they are really good at, instead of just focusing on what is not right with them. Yeah, absolutely. So that's how it is.
Interesting if you can just share about a few things pertaining to that the future of this strength based leadership, and what how do you see the building and shaping up the overall the strength master in India?
So thanks a lot. So yeah, so if you look at, like I said, we are expanding. We have new verticals. We are going to start new verticals. We have our business team, which is growing now. We are adding more people in our business team. At the same time,
Yeah.
we have more coaches who are associated with us, who are working with us. They are also committed to uh, expansion of strength science the way we are. We are very focused, because if you look at being from learning and development OD, it is very easy to go to organizations and say that, okay, I do 10 things and therefore I can do anything for you. because the chances of business getting business are higher. But it took a lot of courage to say that, okay, I would like to do only this because I'm really passionate about it, and I see that, okay, this is something which can create an impact. If you look at in long run, it has given us result. In short run, we lost a lot of business because organization wanted us to do a lot of things, but we wanted to focus on a very specific thing. So now, if you look at in 8 years, we are kind of specialist in what we are doing. So that's the reason more and more clients are going for it. And good news is that a lot of emerging organizations uh, and their founders, their senior leadership team has been very proactive in looking at this as an approach, because people come from experience. They've gone through all the programs, and they know a lot of about how people development can take place. But they find this methodology very simple, very visible, and quite consistent. And the beauty is that nowadays, if you look at simple things are coming back. People are appreciating the simplicity of everything in life, and such thing is simply looking at what is right with people and collating. I mean, I always say that the simplest data point that can be available to any organization is about the strengths of their team members, and let's not ignore it. So therefore, it is growing. We will also scale up gradually.
Very nice. So in practice, the when you interact with your team members, any leader for that matter, you do some appreciative inquiry whenever you meet for them with them for the first time. You start talking about three, their strength, they are good at really genuinely. If you just inform them, about this, say, hey, I really like the way you sit. I really like your, dress combination. I really like last time you closed that customer very effectively. I feel that these small things creates a lot of the transformation in the mind and the heart of that person, and that set your the base ground to further take that person to the next level, and it further expand and enhances your acceptability in the mind of that particular team member.
Yeah.
So what you shared is absolutely right. Abhishek, share something, if someone is starting a career, especially as a strength coach, something, what advice will you give to that particular person who is just a beginner?
So my advice would be that because the fundamentals of coaching do not change, so learn about coaching. So you can't just acquire subject knowledge and then start thinking that I'll also start applying it.
Yeah.
In my experience, because I mean, I work with coaches. There are good quality coaches who are associated with us. They Most of them have come from who have done a lot of one-to-many sessions. So I'm saying that, okay, master the art of facilitation, because that is something which is required. And then start investing in it, because it will require investment. The certification is also not very easy. You have to invest money. It's a 6 months process. You have to coach people. Gallup takes feedback from them. Then you have to clear an examination. 90% is the passing marks. Then every 2 year you have to go through an examination. So that's quite rigorous. So in terms of knowledge, the certification will take care of the knowledge that you have about the strength science. If you do not have knowledge, you will not be certified. That's quite clear, because it's a very specific philosophy, and you're guiding people about something. So you can't be just wrong in that. It can't be just wrong. So therefore,
Yeah.
that's one thing which I would like to share. Second is, I see a lot of people, there is an intent of doing coaching, and I really appreciate that people are getting a lot of certification and doing coaching. But my sense is that they need to invest quite a lot in the craft, and the craft is facilitation. And like a lot of people go to Bombay to become film stars and heroes, but what they don't do is they don't invest in building on their acting skills. They build a lot of they focus on physicality, looks, and all, but they don't focus on the craft, which is acting skills. People who focus on craft, I mean, in long run, they get a lot of success. Similarly, a lot of people want to become coaches, but they don't want to invest. They want to invest in a lot of things which are outside visible, like certification and all, which is good. But also the craft is very important in the entire process of coaching. I mean, coaching is a craft, so the craft is very important. And craft comes when you do a lot of one-to-many sessions. Like, because you have done so many one-to-many sessions in your life. Now, when you bring that experience of one-to-many sessions in one-to-one, because the principles that you're using are of facilitation, right? And it becomes really easy. And then you have a science available to you. You have a subject which is deep, so it adds on, it multiplies the impact of what you're doing. That's what I.
Interesting. Abhishek, thanks for touching upon the chord of facilitation along with the coaching. It goes parallel.
Yeah.
It's together. How you navigate the client, how you develop that the strength of asking that enabling question. And keep yourself very vulnerable in that entire process. Being a
Yeah.
coach is really something very distinctive compared to any other practices happening in the industry. Abhishek, let's take an example that an individual is working with a very smaller organization or the remote area. If they start adopting the strength-based, the coaching or maybe the approaches, what are the chances for their growth and especially the career? How much the potential is there? If you can share something on this.
Sure. Thanks a lot. And that's a good question, Pankaj. So what happens, when we work with small organizations? So if you look at,
Mm.
if an organization is small, that means, more work is expected from each and every team member. And therefore, they have limitation of resources also. At times, they are challenging certain tasks, which are very, very daunting, very difficult to achieve. And at the same time, they have scarcity of resources also. So
Yeah.
in this process, what happens, there are chances of conflict, losing trust on each other. They go up if things are not going well. They really grow up.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
happens, it becomes very important that that small team works very, very efficiently and together. They understand intent of each other in small things, like, someone who is not responding to an email, someone who is not responding to a call, maybe how this person approaches a situation in a different way. So it is very well required to have understanding of each other. So when they understand strengths of each other and together, not just understanding, when they learn how to apply it, how can they master execution, strategic thinking, relationship building, influencing, these four domains of strengths together, they can create huge impact. And we have worked with small organizations in remote areas where they were going through similar situations, but they had this belief that, okay, if we as a team, if we work together, we will be able to crack something really, really big. And they have been able to do it because they start understanding each other. And while they were not doing work independently, they were working together. So for example, let's say one person was responsible for three things, and in the third thing the person was taking help of the fourth person. So there was not an
Yeah.
overlap of the work. So how it works, when they understand each other really well, it helped them working together cohesively, and achieve a lot of things, and resolve a lot of conflict uh, automatically, because people understood intent of each other. They mastered how as a team they can execute together, how they can do strategic thinking together, how they can influence and get results together. So that's what happens. I always say that, okay, founders, who are building their teams, it's very, very critical that they know each other really, really well, not just knowing names and working together, spending time together, but the way they feel, think, and behave, because eventually they are going to go for fundraise and all that. And if you look at any investor, any VC, the most important slide in the pitch deck is the team slide. And if that is not
Yeah.
strong, then you may have a great idea, but you may never be able to execute it.
Yeah. Interesting. Thanks for sharing a lot of insights, Abhishek. People, especially the way you shared, the maybe the startup founders or maybe any CEO of a company or maybe top leader of the company, they are going through a lot of problems and the struggles, maybe the collaboration, the team issues, or maybe something, and it really hit very badly to the overall performance of an organization. And in spite of having everything, you are unable to see the solution. Why? Because there is something which is happening amongst you and your team members, that is called the vision, that is called the tunnel vision. You
Yeah.
all are into that bubble. You are unable to see that outside world where the coach really comes and play a very important catalyst role, and they really help you to hold your hand and you take you out from that special the tunnel or the bubble, and then possibilities are immense. I feel that leaders and other, the founders must take, this leap from being into that situation to move out with the help of some coaches or maybe someone who is sitting at outside. Yeah, so that is
Right.
why the different that third eye view is really important. How do they look at the things? And I always say that the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yeah.
So this is really something very much important. Abhishek, is there anything which we did not discuss and you really wanted to convey with this podcast?
Thanks, Pankaj. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude and thank you to you for your efforts in scheduling this, organizing this. I really, really appreciate that you provided us an opportunity to be with you and have this discussion. It's such a really, really pleasure. So, first of all, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, from on my behalf, on my team's behalf. A great big thank you to you. You're a great human being, and that's how you are bringing these stories to the world. And that's really, really appreciate. That also shows that how you value relationship, how you value people, whom you have been in touch. And that's something which I would like to say first of all before I say anything. Thank you. What and second, what I would like to say that uh, I would like to appeal and request everyone that you have done everything in your life. People do everything in life to become better. Just give one chance to yourself and discover your strengths and see how the world looks very different to you and how you see world from your lenses of strengths. It will be very different. It will be very fulfilling. You will have a lot of moments of self-realization, and the chances of someone living more fulfilling life with a lot of certainty will go up. They can be students, they can be entrepreneurs, they can be senior professionals like you, anyone. Give you a chance once in your life to discover your strengths. Make it a bucket list, and say that okay, I would like to understand my strengths. Not just understand, I would like to understand and learn how to apply myself in the way I want to do. So discover what works for you. What doesn't work for you, the world will tell you, right? But what works for you is something which we should know. That's what I would like to say.
Yeah.
That's all, Pankaj, and that's what I'd like to say.
Wonderful, amazing, Abhishek. Abhishek, thank you so much for taking out time and adding a lot of value to the podcast. I believe that this will be very, very helpful for the existing coaches, even for all the business leaders, those who are going through this podcast.
Thank you, Pankaj. It's my
Thank you.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks a
Yeah.
lot. Thank you.